Now, you probably know Formula One as the pinnacle of motorsport, but did you know there's an all-electric version of racing called Formula E? Well, in this video, I'm going to let you know all of the similarities and differences between Formula One and Formula E, because I have come to the incredible Formula E Prix here at Misano in Italy. And starting at the back, you have a Tag Heuer Porsche Formula E car that looks different to a Formula One car. Here's the first difference. The cars are a lot smaller. They're a lot narrower as well. That means they can go multiple wide into corners, can go 3-4 wide, and you'll see it here, even coming out of this corner here in the race circuit, they will go 4 wide. In fact, yesterday I was here for the race, there were over 500 overtakes. You don't get that in Formula One these days. So if we come around and have a look here, I'm going to be in between the Formula E Tag Heuer Porsche and the Maserati. I want to show you the tyres, hopefully you can see them. Each team only has 2 sets of tyres per round actually, and here you only get an extra set when you come from the Saturday to the Sunday, so it's very limited in terms of tyres. They're quite hard tyres, so they last quite a long time, but that's why they don't have as much grip as you see in Formula One, because they're not slick tyres, they have grooves in them. You also get incredible drivers here in Formula E, like Antonio Felix da Costa. You know, yesterday he had a very dramatic day where he was actually the winner at the end of the race, jumping into the pool. But today, well, I think we woke up and found out that he'd been disqualified for a spec part. What does spec mean? The chassis of all these cars come from a company called Spark. They don't make the chassis and the aerodynamics themselves. They get them from the same company. It keeps the cost low down. And there was an issue yesterday with a spec part that unfortunately was found to not be within the regulations. So although Antonio Felix da Costa won the race yesterday here at Misano, incredible race, he was later disqualified for Tag Heuer Porsche. And I think he's had an issue here as well today, which means he's starting at the back of the grid, but incredibly fast driver, Antonio Felix da Costa. Let's keep going as well. I'm going to be diving in between people for you here because the grid is absolute madness. Here's a massive difference for you. Did you know that there's an Indian Formula E team? So in Formula E you have a team from India, which is Mahindra Racing, you can see here, and they have an ex-Formula One driver in Nick de Vries. So there are drivers that swap and change between Formula One and Formula E. You might recognize some of the names, but this is Mahindra, and just in this gang of circle here, that is Nick de Vries, who is, well, he's a Formula E world champion as well, let's not forget that, but he's also been in Formula One, driven for many teams. I'm in a Mahindra sandwich here. I've got both Mahindras. Very interestingly, they cool the car through the nose cone. So they take the nose cone off at the beginning and cool the car through it. Again, very interesting to see them do it that way, but you can see the tools out there. Let's keep going. Something you don't get in Formula One these days is sort of big underdog teams. They're the underdogs. Everyone wants to support them. I would say ERT is one of those teams. And they had an incredible race here yesterday where they did a very different strategy to everyone else. They were happy to sit at the back of the pack, regenerate a lot of energy, and then come out and have done super well. So you have an underdog team here because of the cost cap, because the budget's so low. Let's keep going. Another big difference between Formula One and Formula E is the relationship between the sort of factory teams and the customer team. It's very, very, very close. So behind us we have Envision Racing. They're a customer team using the Jaguar powertrain. And here we have Andretti. They're a customer team using the Porsche powertrain. And because in Formula E, the chassis are fixed, as I said, it's spec, but the teams can do a lot with the software. It's all about the regeneration, all on the software side. So the teams here, the sort of customer teams, will be working very closely with their factory teams to update on the software, to share those secrets. We see a very close relationship here with Andretti.
You were like, do anything, so you're trying to look at.
So speaking of one of those factory teams, this is the Jaguar TCS car, which has that factory Jaguar powertrain. We spoke with James Barkley and how important electric racing is to Jaguar. Obviously, they had an incredible sort of reputation in sports car racing, winning the Le Mans 24 Hours, winning the Daytona 24 Hours. 20 years ago, they were in Formula One as well. Ironically, that team was sold to, let me know in the comments if you guessed it, but to Red Bull. That was the Jaguar team. But they're now fully committed here to electric racing with Jaguar TCS. And they're very close last year to winning their Constructors' Championship. But as a factory team, it's a big effort from Jaguar. Another difference in Formula One and Formula E is how you get teams changing quite a lot. We're here with the Aprilia team. Next year, this is going to be a partnership with Yamaha and Lola. Can you believe it? We have Lola involved, even though Spark make the chassis, and Yamaha coming to Formula E. We can't wait to see it. We'll put a picture of the livery up, which looks absolutely incredible. But let's keep going. There's a big motorcycle connection here at Misano. So next year, it's going to be incredible to see a Yamaha livery car. So a massive difference in Formula 1 and Formula E is the energy efficiency. This is the car that won yesterday with, well, the same car as Oliver Rowland's car. And incredibly, these are 97% energy efficient because an electric motor is just a more efficient way of delivering power than an internal combustion engine. So you do see absolutely mad efficiency. These cars don't even start with the amount of energy in the battery that's needed to finish the race. They have to regenerate it. We're going to keep walking now. You don't see Maserati in Formula One these days. I went around this track in a Maserati and it was scary, the acceleration with an electric motor. It is not something to discount. It is just a better way of doing things. Obviously, there's differences in the noise. These cars are not noisy like a Formula One car, but Formula One cars these days are nothing compared to the V12, V10s that we saw in the past as well. But you can hear a lot of different things. You can hear the tyres going over the curbs. You can hear the tyre noise as well. Here is another of the Nissan cars that perhaps will win again. And here behind me, you'll see the world champion Jake Dennis in a customer Andretti Formula E car here. Incredibly down to earth. Here with Dan Tickton as well. Both very fast drivers. Jake Dennis tested in a Red Bull Formula E car last year. Dan Tickton as well was part of the Red Bull Academy in Formula One. So there is a very big crossover between these drivers, and hopefully we're going to see a great result. Jake Dennis has been bumped up from yesterday as well, but it was a great result. We spoke to Nick Cassidy here, who is I think he's a very cerebral driver. He's someone that thinks a lot. It was great to chat with Nick, sort of understand what makes him tick. He's very realistic when it comes to his racing, but Dan and Jake, we'll see what they can do. Obviously, well, British connection there. Did you know that Jaguar TCS Racing have two drivers from New Zealand? So Nick Cassidy and Mitch Evans, both from New Zealand, and Oliver Rowland is the driver. If you see here, that won yesterday. Is he going to repeat it today for Nissan? We will see. Maybe. Incredible drive. And again, another customer Envision team because the cost cap is low. And I believe there's another spot for a team in Formula E if someone wants to come in. I'm going to show you here the boss of Formula E, the man in the suit. I'm going to be behind him, but this is Big Jeff, aka the boss. Can you see him? You can't miss him. He's in the suit. He's the man that calls the shots on where he wants Formula E to go. So hopefully we'll speak with him later on in the season. And by the way, if you come over here, can you see how amazing the DS Penske looked? It's just absolutely incredible with the gold rims. As a Peugeot driver, I feel some affiliation here. Mr. Penske here as well. Cool to see a big similarity between Formula One and Formula E. It's the presence of McLaren. McLaren are here. It's neon McLaren in Formula E. They actually essentially brought the team from Mercedes EQ, who won the championship and then moved on to other things. And I just want to come over here and show you the rundown, because people say Formula E is all about city circuits, but it's not the case. If you pan around here, you'll see the incredible rundown. I'm going to run. You'll see the incredible rundown to turn one. That's a big scrape. So Formula E now comes on permanent circuits and they need to make it work. And the only way they can make it work is by being crazy on the energy efficiency and the recovery. So the recovery is very important. We're going to come back now off the grass because drivers might be coming on here. We don't know. But yeah, if you have any questions about Formula E, let me know in the comments. I feel very lucky to be here on the grid. I've grown up watching Formula E. I was here 10 years ago when it just started, and I don't think anyone can predict where it is now. Those are differences and similarities. I'll see you next time.